come on. I was doing all of that at 19.
What?
I was a mommy at 19.
Oh yeah, 19. Yeah.
Yeah, I had Bridget.
Yeah. And then you had me when you were 34, 35 years
35.
old, right? 35. I'm 30. I'm 36.
Yeah, I'm gonna be 72.
Yeah, you had your last kid when you were 36. The world is different today. For some reason, they take people who would, let's say, if they were recovering AA members or something, or let's say they had recovered of 20 years from their addiction or habit or whatever it may be. And then they get targeted all of a sudden when, let's say, if they fall within, let's say, a percentile of those who want to, let's say, have makeup sex with someone they grew up with, for instance, who are of the opposite sex, and they're trying to connect somehow as a method of making up, possibly, I don't know, they become targeted as if, let's say, it's just, it's like they're there's a third party trying to change that statistic or something. I don't know, to make it unsuccessful, where it should just be like, hey, you want to come? Yeah, it's that type of thing. Whereas, like, see, they're not always the third party. They don't have a, let's say, a master's degree in psychology or something, like where they would understand, or like they don't have a master's degree in marriage counseling, or you know where they've literally know the hardcore science behind the importance of people just making up, for instance, or getting together or whatever. What was that? There's something about that whole thing. No, hold on. It's like they're not on the same. Okay, see that. What I'm trying to say is, where people who are in their 30s, and let's say they, before the age of 30, they were working towards having an equivalency of, let's say, a graduate's or master's degree in, let's say, computer science, where they were learning that on their own terms. You know what I'm saying? Where they became kind of like a polymath within that category of learning like 3D animation and dynamic programming earlier on, code optimization techniques and things. Let's say their goal was to start a project. It's kind of like, you know, Craigslist, eBay, Google. In my case, it was Frugal. Okay? And I started that at the age of 28, but the first version was about 7 years ago. That was, fully functional, but there was maybe one minor glitch. I fixed it, and that only took an hour to do or less. Then I had added extra features to it since I've been here. And for the past 6 months, I put a pause on it again, because you can't keep doing things for free. You know what I'm saying? And money is not always a good it's not always a good method to provide an incentive to continue to add things to a project. Sometimes it takes more than one member. Anyways, okay, so these other people, they may be like an actor. I'm not saying actresses necessarily, because these actors, they're other dudes, right? And it's not their territory to even be a third party between a guy and another girl. A girl and another guy, right? It's not their space to interject, because it may be there may be some leniency in the case of a female out there interjecting between a guy and a girl. But that could be a little bit more understandable, because then the guy can actually learn from it. Whereas it's completely up to the girl of then, whether or not that would be okay, and, that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Whereas, like, they're not on the same page. See, I nearly died 20 years ago. I had amnesia in my friend's car in the passenger seat, and when I woke up, I had time dilation symptoms for 7 months that had followed afterwards. There was a break for about 1 month before the following 7 months. Okay, it was a bit unusual, where the symptoms initially, the strong ones, lasted for 72 hours after having amnesia in his car, and then I had decided to go for treatment a month afterwards. That was 20 years ago or so. And then I went for second opinions 2 years later. It was terrible. So I didn't need it, because I had become a vegan 18 years ago. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to say. And I know this girl, she had an incident 2 years before me, but then there are these people who are basically interfering between me and this girl, right? And they're not her. They're not her. Where they didn't, I can guarantee that they didn't nearly die before. If they had, they would know better to not even interfere between two other people's lives like that. Do you see me interfering between other people's lives? Do you see me doing that? No. Because if they're alive, then obviously okay, first of all, if they're alive, whether that would mean they either didn't survive something near fatal, and I just don't want to be a part of their life. And then in this time of my life, over the age of 30, and of the opposite sex. The other would be, if they had nearly died, they would know if they're alive and breathing and talking. I would know to mind my own business, because they handled it their own way. Unless they came to me for a question or something, I would be like, yeah, that I know what that's like, or something like that. And that'd be it. But see, they're interfering between two survivors. They're not survivors. They don't they're not as advanced as this girl and me. And they're making an assumption that she's more advanced than me with intelligence. She is, I'm willing to admit that, but they think I'm not aware of that, and that as if I'm not aware that, oh, he only wants to contact her for more intelligence, or he only wants to contact her because of the field that she had worked in or whatever. Where I'm trying to actually, the reason why I continued studying computer science was a backup plan, not completely for 100% just for myself, but it was also just in case, let's say the girl I was to pair up with, because chances are, I'm telling you, I would only pair up well with, let's say, a survivor if I were to live with them, for instance. And then, like, obviously, if they did work in like a field that would be where it would be controversial for my lifestyle, for instance, of handling my medical condition or whatever it may be. And I would want her to live the same way almost. So that's why I continued learning software development, so that she wouldn't lose a job. Basically, she would have another job. I mean, I'd be fine too. Whereas otherwise, she's going to have to scout someone else that is a software developer, chances are. So there you go. See what I'm saying? I'm trying to make someone's life a little bit easier, and then they're making this like, I cannot believe, like, it's some weird entanglement of confusion, and I'm just trying to truncate their advice because it doesn't count. It's like all of a sudden it's weird. It's like, oh, he's a survivor, and people are not allowed to survive. They must die. That's what I'm trying to say. It's weird.